Hi guys, it's Shrimp. This is some well, something went wrong with my original recording, so I had to re-record it with the footage I captured. So consider this some Patreon exclusive content. I was explaining how I trying to get things done, but I'm gonna show you about how I clean my art and some basic process. So there's my layers and my previous sketches that I've been doing. Something's wrong with Farah's face. I might have to redraw that. I was I wasn't really paying attention. Um so yeah. Uh I'm just gonna show you some couple of things about some really basic explanation of how I usually do my things. So as you can see here, there's my sketch, and then there's my other layers. So I turned this off, and this is what was below it before I started cleaning. It's a really rough sketch. And below that is something that I was using because I wanted some proper angles. I drew a box. This box helps me angle my compositions more properly. See, if I turn the sketch on and then I move this box a bit, it snuggles nicely under. Not exactly, perfectly, but if I tilt this a bit, I wasn't really following because I just wanted like a rough idea of how my composition would look. So that's how I positioned Diva to be like this. So if I turn this base sketch on, before, like underneath the base sketch was not what I originally sketched. I had like a rough, something like this, really, really rough. I just wanted to flesh things out, shape how the body is, something like this. This was what that was underneath, but I deleted that layer before I decided, oh, maybe I should make a video of how I clean these things. Something like this, it's a really, really rough flesh out of how the composition I wanted, but I deleted it because I didn't want my layers to clutter. That would cause some problems when I dump more things on the canvas. So it was, if I lower this and then I put, and then that's how I draw the rough above it. Yeah, lower this opacity here, and then I didn't want to lower too much of the box opacity because I wanted that, because that was pretty much like the more constant variable to position my character. But now that I have these things out, I could turn off the box here and not have it show too much. So the problem here is that it's obvious that Diva's head is it's smaller than her body, or her body's too large for her head. What I want to do here is that you want to make the body smaller instead of the head. There's a reason why you generally want to make something smaller instead of enlarging it. It's because of the pixels. If I enlarge Diva's head here, and then if I zoom in, the pixels, like right here, it's not as I like at the example, but here the place where I drew the red circle at, that place is gonna be pixelated, and it's not thick enough because I'm using a pen with a low density, and that's not ideal because right now it's basically just sketching. I think I'm still sorry if my explanations are off of the video because this is something I'm recording above what I recorded. So here I am trying to show you how it's like to. Okay, the reason why I'm not enlarging it right now, like you say, like since I'm saying, oh wow, Diva's head is smaller than her body, why not? Should I enlarge it now? And then, work with it. But since everything's not fleshed out yet, there's really no reason to. And if I enlarge the head here, I actually zoomed in and you can see how pixelated it gets. But it's not that clear because of the pen I'm using. The sketch layer, the one that's highlighted right now, I'm actually using a custom pencil too. I'm gonna show you the pencil tool right here. It's a custom tool that I found on DeviantArt, I suppose, a few years ago. I really like sketching with this tool because it varies according to your pen pressure. I'm just comfortable with this. So yeah, back to this line art here. I was going to show you how what I meant by not trying to enlarge things when they're out of proportion. They should always make it smaller instead of making it larger. So here I'm going to draw you some samples. So let's give this this shape here. It's really defined. You can see that the lines are very thick. Everything's pretty solid. Nothing wrong here. But then you realize, oh wait, this is too small for the rest of my composition. Maybe I should make it bigger. And when you do that, as you can see, everything's pixelated. And because it's bigger, you can see way clearer than what's smaller. Especially when you zoom out of the canvas. So you don't want to do that. You want to avoid enlarging when things are out of proportion, or else you basically just have to draw everything again. So when you'd want to make things smaller as compared to making larger. So when I make this smaller, right now you don't see that it's pixelated unless I zoom in, but well, that's like way past 200%. That's like 800% of zooming in, which you won't do. There are some cases where you want to enlarge things. It's like when you're like one small portion, one small part of your art or drawing is just too small as compared to the rest of your artwork. And then, well, by all means, go ahead and enlarge, and then you have to manually fix all the pixelated outline. Sorry, just let me drink some water here. So, I'm just going to show you the pen I used to line most of my things. I have it at 50% sometimes, and I have it at 80 when I want to flesh things out, give it a more defined shape. Sketching with a softer brush is nicer. It's just, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing to see that it's soft. So right now I'm using the default pen tool at 80% density. I'm pretty sure it's at the default settings aside from the density, which I change according to what I'm trying to draw. So I'm just going to clean this up a bit and show you how I clean things. The thing with ears, when I started out drawing, I didn't know how to position the ears that well. So right now I don't have, I generally know where ears should be, but when I started out, I would draw a pair of glasses. Just a rough sketch, not actual glasses, but I would draw a pair of glasses and then like the frame, and then I would find where it would snuggle, you know, I don't like the side of it, like where it would end up. Probably it's too high to move it down a bit. Well, it's just a rough, like I'm just telling you how I did it when I started out drawing. I don't really draw devious markings. I don't like seeing the outline when I color it, but that's just preference. Just draw an ear a bit there, and then draw the back of her neck. You might notice that I flip the canvas a lot. I'm left-handed, so I would prefer stroking things to the left side. I'm pretty sure it's the left side. Actually, I prefer stroking to the right, but anyways, I flip the canvas a lot, so I could tell if things are off or not. If you know something's wrong if you flip the canvas and then it doesn't look right. Like probably your eye would be out of position, probably your nose, probably the face is a bit distorted. When you flip the canvas in Paint to SI, it's not permanent. There's a button that I just showed that would permanently flip the canvas. Well, not permanent. It becomes like an action and then you have to undo. When you press the hotkey H on Paint to SAI, it would just flip the canvas for you. And then on the top you can see like normal and inverse. See inverse right now, and then when I flip it back, it goes back to normal. When you do it on Photoshop, it becomes a permanent, not a permanent action. It looks like it registers in your action history, and then you would have to manually undo every time you flip. I did set a shortcut key for Photoshop, which is Control H, but I don't like the fact that when I flip and I draw something on it, I would have to, and then it's something wrong, I would have to undo flipping the canvas and whatever I've drawn on it. So that's a problem with Photoshop. When you flip to see if it's right. You don't flip it to draw. So yeah, just some more cleaning. I see these kind of really rough lines and it peeves me, so I have to clean it. Even though it's not the final layer, you can tell that the lines are not as defined, not thick enough, since I was going for the more Japanese cartoon kind of lining, or cell shaded. The neck's a bit too up front for the collar, so I have to make sure my lines are more thick. Your line thickness depends on what kind of style you want to show. I hear someone walking down from the stairs. Just draw the collar here and the necktie. I'm gonna clean a bit more just to show you how generally cleaning art is like. Oh, so thing with eyes, I tend to fill the pupils in. It's a preference. I feel like when I fill it in, I would know if it's if it's wrong or not. If it's looking alright. Some people just like to leave it empty, something like this. They just leave it empty, and then they can tell if it's right or wrong. But I can't. Like, it will look fine to me, but the moment I fill it up, I can immediately tell, oh god, this is this is wrong. I would fill it in, and it would tell me if it's well, I could it's a preference, I suppose. It helps me out. You don't have to fill it in. Just whatever you're comfortable with. Like, okay, I fill these two in so I could see if it's correct or not. To be honest, Mercy's face is bothering me a bit. I might have to redraw her and Farah's face. I'm sorry. I got the idea of drawing the AU like the morning when I woke up, and then when I started drawing, I was reminded by the many commissions and work that I needed to do in the afternoon. So I had the sketch down, and I didn't like just leaving it there unfinished. So I fleshed it out anyways. I fleshed it out. and now I regret everything. But they could be good bases. But I probably need to redraw Farah entirely. It's just she's just not showing the angle that I wanted. I wanted to go the distance. I wanted to draw more dynamic angles, but apparently I'm not skilled enough to do that just yet. Yeah, Mercy's face, that's a problem with it. But anyways, back to cleaning. You can see that I'm not connecting the lines all too well because it's still not as clean of a sketch. Sometimes I have like 3 or 4 layers of sketch. Sometimes I just do it in one go, but rarely, since I like to get details done and I'm just drawing the folds here. So the way it connects to how, well, this is all by practice. There's really no way around it. How the fold, how the creases of the fold of the creases of the clothing forms. Like this Mercy one here, how it droops down the side, and then she bends the arm a bit, so there's folds here, and then how these two pushes the bottom side up. I might not be explaining it properly, or it probably is not as accurate as what the rope's creases would be, but generally that's how I do it. What I would recommend is to draw a lot of realism. Don't do what I did. I was really obsessed with anime when I was like, what, 15? So I skipped everything. Like, you know, screw realism. Screw drawing from life. I don't need that shit. I just want to draw anime. And I regret it horribly. Because right now I really like art styles that, you know, semi-realism art styles. And they do help in drawing cartoons and anime things, since physics is always just going back to physics and how things work in real life. They just reflect on your drawings, how you understand them. So yeah, just reference more photos, more realistic art, and you'll find yourself improving, from anatomy to creases to lightings. So about the shoulder and the wrist is around 90 degrees, and then the pointy end there will be your elbow. It's not exactly, you know, 90, but it gives, well, I'm not, I can't say that it's not exactly, but you get the idea of where your elbows should be and how your shoulder and your wrist connects. Yep. So I'm gonna be drawing this a bit more before I move on to the next section. Probably a cleaner line art, maybe. So I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Okay. Okay, so we're back to where we left off. Perhaps you can see I've cleaned up most of it. Not exactly clean, but compared to my previous layer, this is much cleaner, and this is what I will be coloring on. Probably have to fix some of these edges. But... So I left the hand unlinered, so I could show you how I did the rest of the areas. But since a lot of people have been telling me that they like the way I draw hands, so I will show you in this video how I draw them. I have a terrible fetish for hands and fingers, so I try to make them as realistic as possible, but not straying away from my style. So I'm currently using the pen tool at 100 density because I want that thickness. finger in. I practice how to draw hands by looking at my own hand a lot. There's a lot of bending and twisting. Some people get a mirror, so because I'm drawing digitally, I get the benefit of flipping my canvas over and then referencing only my right hand. When I want to draw left hand, because I'm left-handed, it's difficult to reference with my left hand while drawing with my left hand. So that's how I do it. Recently I've bought an app from the Play Store called the Handy App tool, and they have like 3D models of hands, and you can like tweak them and flip them around in different angles and adjust the lighting, which is a really useful tool. It's a paid app, which I think is pretty worth, considering how currency is really bad when I'm buying that in USD. But you know, I think it's worth my money. So I think this is most accurate. Somewhat. Yep, okay. Should look fine. Detail in there. You have to use some long sleeves under a robe. And there we go. Extend her wand a bit. I'm gonna go into detail with the wands. You should get the idea. Thicker handle. Maybe. There we go. Alright, so this is the end result of cleaning. This is my line art. If I hopefully for this, if I seal this area, this is the selection tool over here called the Magic Wand, and what this does is it selects the area according to, well, now it's color difference. If I put it to transparency, do this again, I turn off the sketch layer. There, see, I outlined everything perfectly. Yep, this is what we want. This is what you want to see. Okay, so now I will show you how I apply color. It's gonna be really simple. Probably haven't colored these yet, but for tutorial's sake, I will start coloring this. So what I do is I put the sketch layer into the new folder, which is set 2. I'm gonna name it to Diva, and then this is the line art. And then I make a folder beneath my sketch layer, and I put another new layer. And then by using the selection tool, having it selected to transparency and transparent difference according to your line art, I select the face and her hand, everything. I use the select manually selection tool, that's manual instead of the Magic Wand tool. Then I make sure to get all of the skin areas selected. I need to close TweetDeck, but please get all of these selected. Yep, and then I used the default pen tool, which is everything at Fausto's. I think this is the default one. because I want hard solid colors. Or you can use the bucket tool, but I don't really like using the bucket tool because sometimes it doesn't fill in places I want it to. So I would manually put my brush at max, and then I would paint the skin. And then I name this as skin. Usually I just put a shortcut key as, but okay, skin. Then now it's her hair. To manually paint this in. So the edges, they don't detect the edges as well. And then pick a color from the color picker. I think it's this color, should be alright. Pretty sure hair color is like this. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, somewhat accurate. Probably a bit lighter. A bit lighter. Increase the saturation a bit. Okay, there we go. So what I do with the eye area, and sometimes if I draw some with teeth, I would put a layer in between the hair and the skin. Why? Sometimes the hair covers the eyes. You know, it's like some anime art. They have like these long bangs that cover the eyes, which I don't want to paint over. So I put a layer in between the skin and hair, put it white, and then I paint in the eye. How do I paint the pupil, you say? I will show that in a bit. So for clothes, I don't really specify which layer of the clothing I'll be painting. It's more of a preference thing of how I color. So I usually name the layer as 1. Then this is her. I'm pretty sure it's not as white, maybe a bit dirty, light yellow. And Diva is from Ravenclaw. I'll be explaining how I sort them into houses. I actually had this huge long discussion with my friend who is a huge fan of Harry Potter and has been involved in forums and things like that. She's been a huge fan for many years, read all the books, watched all the movies, has done research, and she wants to be paid to talk about Harry Potter. So, you know, I asked for her opinion on how to sort these Overwatch characters in houses, and we both agree that Diva should be in Ravenclaw. Which I'm not going to explain in my tutorial video why she should be sorted in Ravenclaw, but I will be showing our conversation of her explanation on houses and how people are sorted into them. What I did here was I locked the layer. Locking the layer, what it does for is when, okay, let's say I pick this color and I draw here. See, it only paints on what I've painted before on this layer. It's kind of different from clipping, because let's say I make a clipping layer, and then it basically does the same. But when I unclip this layer, it shows what I drew out of the layer I clipped before, which is not necessary at the moment. Depends on what I'm drawing, so that and I use different layers for different purposes. Clipping and locking, that is. Oops, I forgot to lock the layer. So let's then did not close this area. Just to manually use the selection tool. And I think this is enough for layer 1. Make a new layer and name it layer 2. And select all of these. Of course, this layer. Waist. That's peeking out. Button. And their robes are black. So, black robe. And this is gray. Darker gray. Give her a pink. Pink good. Maybe more pastel. There we go. So there you have it. Base colors. Okay, so alright, we're gonna move on to shading. I make a new layer and I clip on the skin. I don't use lock layers on skin because I don't want to ruin the base color. Like, depends if you know, sometimes when I get lazy I just paint everything on the same layer, but because I want to be more specific with shading and highlights, I make a new layer and I clip. And usually I pick from one of my colors that I have here, which I commonly use for skin shading, which is a really liked peach, pinkish peach. Probably too light. So I set this layer to multiply, and then it darkens a bit. Then just add in shadows. Nothing too fancy. I'm just picturing that the light comes from here. Not too many light sources. It's not a strong light. I do want to highlight the nose here a bit. It's becoming quite a habit that I would do this. Now I would lock this layer just so I could highlight the cheek like this. Yeah. Then moving to the hand. That's something I like to do. I would like to paint everything in shadow, and then I start sculpting the highlights of where it could be seen. It helps me find lighting and shadow easier. It's more of a preference thing. Some people don't do this, a lot of people don't do this, but you know, whatever is comfortable for you to color, go ahead. I'm just letting you know how I get things done most of the time. Bit of a problem here. It doesn't look natural enough. Something like this. not too far off. Then this hand, same thing. Because it's mostly blocked, kind of, by her body. It's probably not as accurate as realism, but as long as it brings out the picture I have or I want to show, should be alright. I'm also using the same pen that I used to fill in the base colors with, because I want to achieve that sort of shell shading. I think this is fine. I think it's fine. It's just a bit specific with the lightings. I think it's fine. Should be too nitpicky. Okay. Alright. So usually for the eye, when there's nothing too major, I used to make another layer and then do the whole clipping process, but now I just lock the layer and pick a darker color and fill in the eyes, the shadow within the eye. Probably need it to be a slightly dark. Okay, this is fine. Then move on to the hair. There's a technique I used to use, but then I got lazy. On the third panel, you see there's like two ends, blue and orange at the moment. So I pick. I would scan this color. I would eyedrop this color, and then I would move to a darker value and fill it in. So if you study the color wheel, you want to pick the color that's opposite right here, so it's purple over here, and then not moving the values, you fill it on the other side, and you want to pick the color that's in between here, and this will be your first shade. The second way to do it, well, if you don't want to pick the color from this side, it was this color, was it? Okay, it was this color. You pick it from this side, around here, fill it in, and pick the color here. But you want to pick, because brown, hair color is brown, you want to pick purple, which is better than going way off into green, and use this color as your shading. But I don't do that, not often. I would put a clipping layer, I would set my color to multiply, and then I would pick a color around probably reddish gray, something like this. Probably too light, something darker. And then I would set it to multiply, and then this would be my shading color. I mean, it's not a bad technique. I used to do it all the time, but I think I got lazy. So I think I know what kind of shading I should be using. Most of the time I do. And then when I don't, I go back to the whole color picking thing. And it's also useful if you just use grays. Like, you just pick a gray and it will be a perfect shading color. But I don't really want it to be too flat. On her shadows have some color. This is the very simple shell shading you can see. Usually I draw upwards and then I erase. Triangles because of the hair. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to explain here. So yeah, shading, yay. Okay. Oh, probably not okay. Okay, this is okay. Over here, there. Okay. What I would normally do when character has really long hair, I don't really think there's only one layer of shadow, but because I don't want to ruin this layer, because I'm so used to erasing at the same time, make another layer, put it a multiply, use the same color, shade it again. So there's some depth shadows. See? See the depth coloring. To give it more depth, I make a new layer and I put it at screen. Then I pick this color, the base color, and then draw highlights with the brush tool. So it's soft. And I erase it. You can see I'm not using the eraser tool. I press the dash button on the keyboard, and if you can see on this corner right here, this thing, the thing that's highlighting right now, that's changing your current tool to erase. Now it's off, and then I draw. When I turn it back on, and then I draw the same tool, it erases. It's like inverting your tool's what your tool does. It inverts it. Instead of drawing, it erases, but with the same density, same brush size, same settings, but it erases instead of drawing. So there you go. Highlights are in. I'm gonna highlight here. Here as well. Yeah, looking good. Okay. Okay, I think I will show you. I'm just gonna color everything, so you know I wouldn't miss out on anything. But please let me know what you don't want me to show you in the next tutorial if I do more of these videos again, because I feel like they're really long-winded and they are really boring to watch, and you want to skip some parts. I'll be putting timestamps in the description so you can skip to the part where you want to see me draw. So this is the clothing area. Same thing, I put a multiply layer, and then the shadow can either be warm, which is reddish gray right now, or it could be blue, but not as blue. We lower the saturation a bit and put up the luminosity. probably around this blue, which is more natural, but I'm not getting that vibe right now. So I want it to be more warm. Shadows should be more warm. There's some highlights there. Okay, side done. Go into layer 2, make the same clipping group, and then with the same multiply layer, we drop shadows in. But it's probably too dark because of this layer, so I'm gonna probably move this up a bit. You could always do it with grays. I used to do it with grays. Grays is really pretty direct. You don't have to pick out warm or cold colors. But at the moment, I feel like I want to get a warm feeling in her shadows. So this is gonna take a while. I will show you the end result of shading. I'll be back in a bit. And it's almost done. I've shaded the robe. Give it a bit of some highlights. Realized that I didn't color everything. Okay, so time to color the eyes. So what I do, because I have the habit of filling in the pupil as the line art, I make a layer above my line art, and then I use a tool, oops, maybe this color. I fill it in like that. It's really simple. And then I would use the blur tool and kind of just smudge so it fills up the window to her soul. Give it a bit of some highlights here. Smudge it a bit there, and voila! So, to finish up this work, I would always try to change the color of the line art so it looks less dull. You know, like give her eyes a bit of color. So, the skin would always be brown or dark brown or red with the skin color, and her hair. I would leave like the outer outlines, literally the outline, to be black. All the rest of it that's inside have a different color. Her necktie, blue. Then her fingers. Color this brown. Then should be good. Yep. And then, finally, I would, on top of the Diva layer, make a new layer, clipping group, put this to overlay, and time to drop fancy overlays. Lower the opacity. Maybe it should be pink. Is there a difference, you say? So if I turn now, I have the overlay layer on. If I turn it off, it looks okay, but it's gonna be fancier if there's an overlay layer. And if you want to do more fancy stuff, which I probably could have deleted this layer, is to put this at put a luminosity layer above it, and then pick an orange light. Use the brush tool. Give it a bit of light. Oh, a bit of light here. Oh shit. Wrong tool. Light here. Some light here. And it's gonna look fancy. Really fancy. Or even a blue, or even a blue light, you know. Blue light. Blue light's not bad. And there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video that I put together. And if any questions, please let me know. If you want to see more of these videos, or you don't want to see more of these videos, let me know. Just let me know in the comments or anything. Let's private message me. Tell me what you want to see. And that's it for now. Thanks, guys. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.